Hey guys, how you doing? Welcome back to the channel. Today I wanted to get on here and talk quickly about Shelby Oaks, the feature film debut of writer-director Chris Stuckmann, starring Camille Sullivan, Sarah Dern, Brendan Sexton III, Robin Bartlett, Michael Beach, and Keith David. And this follows the character of Mia Brennan Walker, played by Sullivan, as she investigates into the disappearance of her sister Riley, played by Dern, as her and her cohort and co-host of the YouTube channel Paranormal Paranoids disappeared 15 years beforehand. And you kind of get a look into her, quest for justice, what have you. And this is an interesting film in the sense that this is one that I can say I had a stake in, because I remember when Chris Stuckmann, who I've been following for over the past decade, I mean, he is one of the guys that got me into film criticism to begin with, just watching his reviews and kind of understanding what works about movies, what doesn't. Like, I really owe a lot to Chris Stuckmann. I mean, the fact that, I went to the Toronto Film Festival's press, I don't think that would have happened if it weren't for his influence on this platform. And so I knew I had to give him a little something back in return. And I'm really happy that this guy finally got to achieve his dreams of becoming a filmmaker, especially everything that he had to go through growing up in the Jehovah's Witnesses. I mean, this guy's been through a lot, so it's nice to see him finally get his break and be able to achieve his dreams. I mean, that's always a wonderful thing to see, especially someone who you respect and admire for such a long period of time. And so naturally, I was excited. I actually put this on my most anticipated movie list of last year, even though it didn't eventually come out until a few weeks ago. So I knew I had to get on here because, look, I mean, Chris has reviewed countless numbers of movies, and I figured it would be unfair if I didn't get on here and talk about his movie. Because I really had high hopes for this guy, because, you could tell by the way he talks about movies that he's really, really smart, and there's a reason why he has over 2 million subscribers on YouTube, right? So I thought naturally those tendencies could translate over, because, he's obviously very well versed in what works and doesn't work in the realm of film. And so when I saw this movie and found it to be one of the most derivative and questionable films I've seen in quite some time, I was really taken aback. I mean, I kind of expected, considering I heard from people that I trust and admire as well, that it really wasn't it. I went in with fairly low expectations, and quite honestly, those were met. Because, look, I think the best thing I can say about this movie, there's a few things actually that I can say. I think Chris Stuckmann really has an eye for visuals, which makes sense because he's been watching movies his whole life, right? So I think that there is potential there, and also the way he's able to build suspense. There were quite a few moments, and I don't usually get this way in horror movies, where I jumped a little bit out of my seat. Now, it might have helped that the girl to the other row was like screaming every time something happened. But still, I think that he does effectively build tension in horror, even though, he does resort to jump scares. I think in some way they are more earned than other horror movies that I have seen. And I also have to shout out Andrew Scott Baird, who's the DP on this movie. It looks really good. And I know, for a movie that isn't Alfonso Cuarón's Roma, complimenting the cinematography might not always be the best sign, but I really do think that he makes this movie as engaging as it possibly could be, because if the visuals were flat in this, I mean, I don't really think it would have played that well. I mean, it already doesn't, but we'll get into that. I do think as well that the performances here are what really stand out, especially Camille Sullivan, who really, I think, is given a bit of a thankless role, gives her everything to it. I was really, really impressed by the emotionality of her performance and the fact that she was able to bring this character to places without really having much on the script to take her to those said places. So, shout out to Camille Sullivan. I thought she really was quite great in this. As well as Sarah Dern, who plays Riley, who you mainly see through a lot of archival footage in the movie, and I think she really delivers as well, considering what she is given. And yeah, both those performances really, really, I can't compliment enough. And I will say on that point, when it comes to the character of Riley, this movie starts out extremely interesting, we'll say, because it's almost like it's this documentary that is, obviously influenced by the Blair Witch Project, but it kind of like sets everything up. And I thought, okay, maybe this is a bit of a lazy way of delivering exposition, but it is interesting, and I think it does set up the story very, very well. And you could tell that Chris Stuckmann has quite the affection for found footage horror movies. We know this if you watch his channel long enough. But it definitely shines through in an interesting way. It's not that we haven't seen this done before, but I think it is done well, for whatever that is worth. But as for the rest of the movie, it kind of sucks. I mean, I don't want to get on here and be, very flippant about how I speak on this movie, because I know Chris has cooled down on that. Apparently, performative bashing or something. And that's not what I'm here to do. I really just want to give my honest opinion on this movie, because I want to see him do better in the future if he can help it. Because this is just, there's no depth to the story at all. There's no writing to be seen with this character, except she's like, oh, my sister disappeared. I'm going to go look for her. I'm going to make very misinformed decisions that are driven purely by emotion that we really cannot latch onto that well. Because there's a couple of things that happen where I'm like, why is this bitch doing something so stupid? But I do think the script rises to the occasion and answers that question, at least in one moment. So I was like, okay, I can go on with this. But as it went along, I just got so disinterested because the writing is paper thin. And that's why I'm impressed by these performances, because there's really nothing on the page for them to do. All these characters are merely, I think, plot devices to tell the story. There's really nothing to it at all. Especially her husband, played by Brendan Sexton III. He just says to say, oh, you got a problem. You need to, get some help. Like, that's all he does in the movie. There's literally nothing to that at all. It is really disappointing, I think, that there was nothing there to work with in the script, because I would have expected, having all this time to formulate on ideas and such, that he would have come up with something with at least a little bit of depth, right? Something that doesn't veer off into territory which, quite frankly, he has criticized other movies for doing. So it's like, what, so we're going to bite the hand that feeds now? I mean, I just don't think it is passable, to talk about this movie in this way and kind of, let that slide. Because when you get to the final act of this movie, oh my goodness, I was rolling my eyes so hard, because he not only is it derivative, but he does it without any setup at all. So it's like you're just going to do the same thing you've criticized, but like do it worse than those other movies. It goes to some really insane and crazy places without much of an explanation, with a kind of obvious sense about it that you can see coming a mile away what he's doing with this narrative. And it's just, like I said, there's no depth to it at all, so it just makes it that much worse by the time you get to the end of it. And yet again, there's horror tropes here that I think are really stupid as well. When it comes to, writing whatever is there, the decisions that, especially that Mia makes throughout this movie, are absolutely insane. I think if you pull out the book of Horror 101, things that characters should not do, you will find quite a few of them in this movie. And look, I get he loves the genre. But if you really, really love the genre, why don't you take what was done before and try to do it in a more interesting and compelling way? I think that's how a lot of the best horror movies are made, like what Ari Aster did with Hereditary. Like, for instance, if we're going to talk about YouTubers, the Philippou brothers. I think, Bring Her Back is one of my favorite movies of this year. And I even think Talk to Me, which I think has a lot of those tropes that I would criticize this movie for when it comes to characters making stupid decisions, at least there was a lot more style to that movie and a lot more substance to what was happening underneath the surface. And so, yeah, I mean, Shelby Oaks is definitely maybe the most disappointing movie of the year. Well, maybe besides Mickey 17, because that's from Bong Joon-ho. Because, look, this is his first movie. I think that there is definitely potential to get better. But, like, you really need to kind of hone in on writing a script with legitimately compelling characters, just subverting tropes in ways that we haven't seen before. Not to saying that you stick to just horror, but if you are going to do that, that's one thing that I would recommend. And yeah, I mean, look, you got out there, you made a movie, and, you know, everyone says, well, why don't you go do it? He actually did it. So, you know, props to you, Chris. I mean, I'm really, really happy that you finally got out there to do what you've always wanted to do all these years being on this platform, but I just really don't think it amounts to much at all. And what it does amount to, I think, really is just quite dismal. As unfortunate as it is, because I really want to see this guy succeed. I really want to see him become a great filmmaker that I think he has in him somewhere. Because this knowledge, it just can't go by the wayside. And look, I mean, I don't want to, you know, get on here and bash anybody who's like loved this movie, but let's be honest, are you just loving it because it's Chris? I mean, I really don't think that's right. And that's why I want to get on here and, you know, talk about this movie in the most honest way that I possibly can, with all due respect to Chris Stuckmann himself. I really can't wait to see what you do next regardless. I will definitely be supporting you in the future, and I just want to see the improvement because I know you have it in you. So on that note, I'm going to give Shelby Oaks, I don't know, like a 3.5 out of 10. Yeah, this is definitely one of my least favorite movies of the year so far, and it really hurts me to say that because, I mean, I've already laid it out for you why that is, so I'm not going to go on about it much longer, but, you know, still proud nonetheless that, you know, the fact that this got picked up by Mike Flanagan and Neon, that's quite an achievement within itself, and, yeah, really excited to see how you can improve going forward, Chris, and thank you for really, you know, helping me out in my own personal life as well. I don't want this to seem ungracious in any stretch of the imagination, so if you do see this, you know, nothing but love, of course, but yeah, those are my thoughts on Shelby Oaks. Let me know what you thought about it, and please give me a very good reason why you loved this movie if you did love it. But yeah, I definitely would love to hear all your thoughts and comments. Please smash the like button if you want to see more movie reviews like this. Definitely going to finally get to those movies. House of Dynamite will be my next review. I still want to talk about the Pokemon Legends ZA game as well. I've just been so busy running like a chicken with its head cut off, so to speak. It's just been a crazy past couple of weeks, and I got to catch up on all the TIFF reviews as well. So bear with me. I assure you the content is still rolling down the line, and you'll see it all in due time. So until then, take it easy, and I'll talk to you very soon.